Yo, it's JJ from 845, and today we're looking at Edelkrone SliderOne and its motion module. And over here is the motion module. So you would just screw right this underneath the SliderOne. I went ahead and put an 845 sticker. But anyways, underneath is where you would put your LPE6 battery, and that would power the actual sliding mechanism, the motor. And underneath you have a 3/8 to mount on your tripod. You can see already that I mounted it earlier today on the tripod. So I went ahead already and remove the bottom portion right here, which you're supposed to, and I'll screw this in right now. Right away, as you can see, it's super compact. This thing could fit in your bag easily. One thing I forgot to mention, but you probably saw already, there's just a bubble level to make sure that this thing is straight and leveled. And then when you put the battery in, there is no actual switch, but you could probably hear that little beep. And what's going to do right now, it's going to calibrate it to reach its far end. And what I've actually noted is on this side, the part where it's opposite of the lock, this side is A and this side is B. And you'll see in the app later on that in order to slide it from left to right, you're going to start from A to B or from B to A. And trust me, you probably would want to watch their manual video. If you bought anything from Edlekrone before, there's like this paper insert that immediately says to reference to their website to go over their manual. I also have Edlekrone SliderPlus Pro slider, and we can take a look real quick as far as how small this is compared to that, even though that other one is already compact as it is. And here you can see the comparison between the Edelkrone SliderPlus Pro and their SliderOne slider with a motion module. So obviously this thing is bigger, and of course the added benefit is that you can travel a lot further. Onto the right, this is actually the motion module, which you do need in order to make this thing move left and right. And I also actually have the target module where it's the same size of this but onto the left side, and this allows the head to actually pan left and right, which is something that this still cannot do. So if you're doing any product videos and you want the parallax movement, as in the camera starts from here and then it kind of pans to the left as you slide from left to right, then you would still need this module, because with this, along with the motion module, you'll need a target module in order to move the head to move automatically. But if you're looking for a basic slider, a motorized one that moves left and right and left, the SliderOne does a terrific job. So this is what it looks like to attach a video head on top of Edelkrone's SliderOne slider with the motion module. This is a Manfrotto MVH500 that's on top of this thing, which I think is a lifesaver. This is Newer's leveling base adapter. If you're using a photo tripod, or rather if you already have a tripod and want to make it a lot easier to level your head and not necessarily adjust each legs individually to get the slider leveled, then this thing right here could definitely do that for you instantly. So I went to a park in San Francisco and I thought I'd show some footage captured with this thing right here. So before buying the motion module unit, I did ask an Edelkrone representative of how loud this unit is, because the thought is if it's quiet enough, I can definitely use it in replace of my RedRock micro one-man crew. And she had said that it was nearly silent. So before I show you guys, or rather let you guys listen to how loud the motor is, I want to show you the interface from the phone itself. So the good and bad of having the interface on your phone is that the bad is you need your phone. So there's no way to control the actual unit because there are no physical buttons anywhere on the actual motion module. So here it is on the phone. Like I said, if you're gonna buy this unit, I recommend actually watching the video from Edelkrone themselves, because I'm not gonna go over the how-to, but basically this tells you how long it'll take to go from point A to point B. You can set your point A and point B through this. You can ramp up using this slider right here, and then you can also control the overall speed of the unit from 0% or whatnot to 100%. Like I said, you can go from A to B, that's from A to B, or from B to A, which is the opposite. And then a nice cool feature as well is using the loop. So once it hits to the end, so from A to B, then from B to A, and it'll just do that indefinitely. And yes, the nice thing about it is that if you want to use your phone as a regular phone, while the unit is going, you can actually exit from this app and the unit will still play. So one tip right away is that if you're going to be using this slider in the field, I would highly recommend finding some way to attach your phone to your camera. So you can probably use one of those tripod adapters for the iPhone, the one that clamps right here, and then it has a 1/4/8, and that way you can just plug that in and screw it into like some type of magic or friction arm and mount that to your camera. All right, I'm gonna let you guys hear how loud the motor is. The slider in itself is actually about, I would say, 8 to 10 inches from the microphone. So I'm gonna let this play at 10% speed. So it's moving right now, and you can barely hear it. And this speed, honestly, is pretty much about how I would set my RedRock Micro one-man crew. So definitely you can use this in an interview setting. So I'm going to ramp this up to about 50%, just so that way you guys can see how fast this thing could be at 50%. And of course, the same distance from right now, from the slider to the microphone. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, and lastly, this is what 100% sounds like. And for comparison, this is the SliderPlus Pro. I believe this is the medium size, by the way. And to be fair, I'll do the 10%, 50%, and then 100%. So this is going to be at 10% speed. And as far as distance-wise, I'm using a tripod on this, so this is still about close, about a foot away from the microphone. And this is the main reason why that I cannot use this for an interview, even at a slow speed. So, for example, that's 10. This is at 1. It sounds like something is broken. I'm not so sure if that's the actual problem with the motor or if that's how it's supposed to sound. Now, for 50 speed, this is what 50 sounds like. And this is what 100% speed sounds like. Definitely a lot louder than the SliderOne with a motion module. Do I love this Edelkrone SliderOne module? Absolutely. It's super small, it's compact, it's much lighter than what I thought the SliderPlus Pro model was. And so there's no reason for me to be leaving this in my bag at all times. And apparently this thing, by leaving the battery in here, it has a 30-day standby time, even though I'd probably recommend just removing it anyway when not in use. But yeah, this thing could hold my FS5 and the Sigma 18 to 35 lens with no problem. But would I recommend this over the SliderOne Plus Pro model? I think that just depends, right? Because if you're mounting a whole lot more on your camera, I think that one definitely has a better weight payload. In addition, if you're looking for that movement, that parallax movement of the camera being able to point from this and then do that, you can't do that with this. I would be super ecstatic if they came out with a module or an add-on that allows you to do that, and I would absolutely get that and then sell my other one. But for now, if you're doing any product videos and you absolutely need that parallax effect, that's where the SliderPlus Pro slider comes in. I mean, you still have to get the action module as well as a target module, but you would be able to do that with that and not with this. If you are doing interviews though, and you either are paying someone to be your B camera, and having that person slide from left to right while the person's talking throughout the interview, and if the one-man crew, which is around a little bit over $2,000, is way over your budget, I strongly recommend looking at this. I mean, it's pretty much silent for the speed that you kind of really need. You can't go that fast. I mean, the main difference again is that the one-man crew, it's going to have that parallax effect. The actual unit has an arc. So if you're looking at it, the camera will travel from here and will go like that. It doesn't go from left to right like a normal slider. But for the price difference, it's pretty hard to beat this small thing to be your B camera. The other big caveat is with the one-man crew is that you have to be exactly 6 feet away from your subject. So that means that you're going to have to use a telephoto lens, probably a 70-200 or an 85 or whatnot. But you have to be 6 feet in terms of distance in order to keep your focus, your subject in focus from point A all the way to point B in that arc movement. Anyways, I hope this overview of Edelkrone SliderOne slider and motion module was useful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. Cheers.